Ever wondered how a rivalry could shape an entire industry? Bette Davis and Joan Crawford's feud didn't just spark drama on screen, it changed the very fabric of Hollywood itself. But what really happened behind the scenes? Bette Davis and Joan Crawford, two of the most iconic actresses of old Hollywood, were rivals like no other. Their feud wasn't just about acting, it was personal, fierce, and filled with scandals that rocked the entertainment world. In this video, we'll dive into how their bitter rivalry influenced Hollywood in ways you might never have imagined. From behind-the-scenes battles to on-screen tensions, this rivalry left a mark that's still felt today. So, what did their clash mean for the stars of their time and the future of Hollywood? Let's take a look. The rise of Bette Davis and Joan Crawford. Before their legendary feud, Bette Davis and Joan Crawford were already titans of Hollywood, but their paths to stardom couldn't have been more different. Let's start with Bette Davis. Known for her fierce determination, Davis didn't just play roles, she transformed them. From the very beginning of her career, she was known for her bold, unflinching performances that defied the typical female roles of the time. She wasn't content with being just another pretty face. She wanted substance, complexity, and control. And she got it, earning 2 Academy Awards and cementing her reputation as one of the most talented actresses Hollywood had ever seen. Her career wasn't just built on beauty, it was built on raw talent and a willingness to take risks. On the other hand, Joan Crawford's rise was rooted in a completely different strategy. She was the epitome of glamour and beauty. Starting in silent films, she quickly became a screen siren. Her striking looks and elegant presence were irresistible to both filmmakers and audiences. But Joan wasn't just another pretty face either. She had the drive to succeed in a male-dominated industry. She fought for better roles, and her ambition pushed her to reinvent herself time and time again. Crawford even won an Academy Award, proving that she had the talent to back up her star power. But while Bette Davis was making waves with her intense, dramatic performances, Joan Crawford was building an image of grace and refinement. They were both at the top of their game, but they couldn't have been more different in their approach to stardom. Their contrasting styles set the stage for what would eventually become one of the most notorious rivalries in Hollywood history. How did two such iconic women, so different in their personalities and career paths, find themselves in such a bitter feud? The beginning of the feud. The stage was set. Bette Davis and Joan Crawford were already Hollywood stars, but their real rivalry didn't ignite until they were cast together in one of the most infamous films of all time. What Ever Happened to Baby Jane? This was a project unlike anything either of them had done before. It was a psychological thriller, a film that pitted the two actresses against each other in a bitter battle of wits and emotions. On screen, they played former child stars who had grown into bitter, broken women. Off screen, well, the tension was just as real, if not more so. From the moment they were cast, sparks flew. The two women had always been competitive, but working together on this film pushed them into full-on animosity. Davis, known for her commitment to her craft, took the role seriously. She transformed herself physically and emotionally, embodying the aging, tortured character of Baby Jane. But Crawford was more concerned with the spotlight. She wasn't willing to fade into the background, even for a role that seemed to be tailor-made for Davis. She wanted the same attention, the same accolades. Their disagreements on set were legendary. Davis later recalled that Crawford would sabotage her attempts to get the best shots, often causing delays or trying to steal the focus. But it wasn't just the work that fueled their feud. Personal vendettas from years before started to surface, and the resentment they both felt for each other only grew. Crawford, who had always felt overshadowed by Davis, began to feel that the press and the public were too focused on her rival's talent and intensity. Meanwhile, Davis resented Crawford's polished image and the way the media often fawned over her glamorous persona. But what made this feud stand out was the media's role in stoking the flames. The press loved it. Two of Hollywood's most famous women locked in a battle that seemed to echo the power struggles of their on-screen characters. The more the feud grew, the more it became a story in itself. The press turned their rivalry into a public spectacle, encouraging them to outdo each other both on and off the set. And this wasn't just some behind-the-scenes drama, it was entertainment. How did their animosities play out in front of the cameras? You won't believe what happened next. The impact on Hollywood's culture. Bette Davis and Joan Crawford's feud wasn't just a tabloid sensation. It reshaped Hollywood culture and influenced the way the industry approached its stars, particularly its leading women. First, let's talk about the role of the media. At the height of their feud, the press had a powerful influence over public perception, and it was clear that a rivalry between two of the biggest stars of the time would sell newspapers. But what really set this feud apart was how the media played up the drama, often turning small disagreements into major scandals. The press didn't just report the feud, they thrived on it, portraying these two women as larger-than-life figures locked in an epic battle of egos. It became less about their actual performances and more about who was winning the rivalry. The media made the conflict the centerpiece of their stories, creating an almost soap opera-like atmosphere around their careers. This media circus made it harder for the public to separate the women's on-screen personas from their real lives. Audiences became obsessed with the drama surrounding Davis and Crawford, who was getting the better role, who was more talented, who was more glamorous. Their rivalry became the ultimate spectacle, eclipsing their work as actresses and turning Hollywood itself into a battleground for attention and dominance. This shift in focus was a turning point for the industry. Hollywood started to see its stars less as artists and more as commodities, publicly manufactured, polished, and constantly under scrutiny. But the feud also highlighted deeper issues within Hollywood, especially when it came to the treatment of women. The rivalry underscored the way women were often pitted against each other for the sake of entertainment. In a male-dominated industry, female stars were often forced into competition, and their worth was measured not just by their talent, but by their popularity and public image. The feud between Davis and Crawford showed just how intense that competition could get, and how the industry played a role in fostering these rivalries. But beyond the spectacle, Davis and Crawford's feud also changed the way Hollywood approached casting. With such an intense rivalry in the spotlight, filmmakers started to realize the financial value of a public feud. The idea of pairing actresses who didn't get along, like Davis and Crawford, became a tactic to generate buzz and attract attention to films. This would go on to influence how Hollywood marketed stars in the years to come, and it became a strategy that was used time and again, even as the industry evolved. So how did this rivalry shape the future of female representation in Hollywood? What lasting effects did it have on the way women were cast and portrayed on screen? The answers may surprise you. The influence on their careers. While the feud between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford was an explosive spectacle, it also had a significant impact on both of their careers, though not in ways you might expect. Let's start with Bette Davis. Davis was no stranger to controversy, and in many ways, her fierce independence and dedication to her craft made her a star that could withstand almost anything. Even amid the height of the feud, Davis continued to earn critical acclaim and expand her range as an actress. Her role in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane gave her a unique opportunity to shine in a way she never had before. She delivered a performance that was both chilling and captivating, and the film itself became a massive success. Despite the chaos on set, Davis remained a force in Hollywood. Her career continued to thrive long after the dust settled from the feud. However, while the feud brought her additional attention, it wasn't without its challenges. Davis's stubborn personality and refusal to conform to industry standards led to struggles with casting and typecasting. She became known not just for her talent, but for being difficult to work with. But Davis was unapologetic. She'd rather fight for the roles she believed in than conform to the industry's demands. This resilience allowed her to remain one of Hollywood's most iconic actresses. On the other hand, Joan Crawford's career didn't fare as well in the wake of the feud. While she certainly earned accolades and was known for her glamorous roles, her career was on a downward trajectory as she grew older. After Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, Crawford struggled to find the kind of roles that had defined her earlier career. In many ways, the feud damaged her public image, portraying her as someone who was overly focused on personal vendettas rather than her craft. The media's focus on her rivalry with Davis overshadowed her actual acting work, and for many it became the defining moment of her career. Crawford's personal life also began to affect her professional life. Her image as a glamorous star was slowly fading, and the public's obsession with her feud with Davis didn't help. Yet, despite these setbacks, Crawford's career did experience a brief resurgence. After Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, she took on other notable roles, including in the film Hush, Hush, Sweet Charlotte. which allowed her to continue to capitalize on her rivalry with Davis. But it was clear that her career was never the same. Their rivalry not only shaped their public personas, but also influenced the trajectory of their careers in profound ways. While Davis continued to rise, fueled by her unyielding approach to her craft, Crawford found herself trying to reinvent her image as Hollywood's ideal star, caught between her past glamour and a new, more cynical era in Hollywood. But could they have achieved more if the feud had never existed? Would their careers have taken a different path? The question lingers even today. The feud between Bette Davis and Joan Crawford didn't just end when the cameras stopped rolling. Its impact is still felt in Hollywood today. Their rivalry didn't just change the trajectory of their careers, it shaped the entire culture of the film industry for decades to come. One of the most enduring legacies of their feud is how it highlighted the role of celebrity rivalries in shaping public perception. Hollywood had always thrived on drama, but the Davis-Crawford rivalry set a new precedent for how conflicts between stars could be turned into sensationalized media events. Their feud became more than just a behind-the-scenes conflict. It became a commodity. The media knew that their rivalry would sell stories, and they milked it for all it was worth. From magazine covers to news reports, every detail of their feud was pored over and shared with the public. And the press didn't just report, they amplified, distorting the truth to fit a narrative that kept audiences hooked. But the legacy goes beyond just the tabloids. The feud also changed the way actresses were cast and portrayed. From that point forward, Hollywood seemed to take a greater interest in pairing actresses with contrasting personalities or rivalries, hoping to capture the same buzz that Davis and Crawford generated. Films with feuding stars became a selling point. Whether it was the tension between actresses or just the public perception of rivalry, the industry realized that conflict, both on and off screen, could translate into box office success. This practice continued for years, with stars like Elizabeth Taylor and Debbie Reynolds, or even real-life feuds like those between Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey being used as part of the marketing machine. Moreover, Davis and Crawford's feud also influenced the way Hollywood handled women in film. Their rivalry revealed the underlying sexism in the industry, how women were often forced into competition for the same roles, for the same spotlight, and even for the same praise. This pattern of putting women against each other would continue for years, fueling unhealthy comparisons and pitting actresses against each other in a battle for dominance. The public's obsession with their rivalry made it clear that women in Hollywood were not just stars. They were often expected to be rivals, and this became a familiar narrative for decades. Their feud also left a lasting impact on how we view aging in Hollywood. Both actresses were forced to confront their place in an industry that had little patience for women over a certain age. The intense focus on their rivalry helped to highlight the challenges actresses faced as they got older, a reality that persists today. In many ways, their feud was a reflection of the broader societal struggles women faced in the entertainment industry, the pressure to remain youthful, relevant, and ever glamorous. And let's not forget how the feud still fascinates audiences today. Decades later, films like Feud, Bette and Joan, and numerous documentaries continue to explore their relationship, ensuring that the legend of their rivalry lives on. The enduring popularity of their feud shows just how much it changed the way we consume celebrity culture. Even in an era where social media has replaced traditional tabloids, the fascination with celebrity conflicts remains a central part of how we view the world of entertainment. Who would have thought that a feud like this could leave such a lasting impact on Hollywood? From shaping careers to changing the industry, Bette Davis and Joan Crawford's rivalry was far more than just gossip. If you found this behind-the-scenes drama as captivating as we did, make sure to hit that subscribe button for more shocking Hollywood stories. What do you think? Could there ever be another rivalry like theirs?